The idea came from existential dread during COVID that we all experienced.
I was in a good place.
Yeah, you were thriving personally, and I was not. No, we were both struggling, as the world was. And I was on the phone with my agent because I've heard that if you're ever struggling, you should call your agent. That's kind of what they teach you in the industry. So I called my agent and I was like, help, what do I do? I need to work and I'm scared about my future. And she was like, okay, why don't you see if you can come up with an idea that could shoot during COVID with limited locations and limited actors. And about 5 minutes after that phone call, I came up with the seed of the idea. And Molly and I were in a pod together at the time. Now we see other people as well, but at the time, only each other. And we had been friends for 6 years then and 10 years now. And I told her the idea, and she spoke to it and loved it. And by the end of that day, we had decided to do it together. And by the end of the weekend, we had come up with the idea for the story. And then I went back to my childhood bedroom and wrote the first draft very, very quickly. So everything happened really, really quickly. And then it took 5 years to actually make it.
But the idea came from Sophie and I both having our heart broken. And Sophie...
I didn't want to share that, Molly. No, I'm kidding. Yes, that is the idea.
And Sophie kind of being my guru through my heartbreak and COVID. And we kind of wanted to make something about the communication breakdown of our generation with, you know, I mean, it's always been ridiculously hard to date, but we do feel like it might be the hardest that it's ever been. And yeah, we just wanted to kind of poke fun at all the funny experiences that we've had and our friends have had.
It was 9 years between directing for me, and I didn't think it would take that long. I think I was very optimistic after I made my first film that I would make another one right away, and then it ended up taking 9 years. I think the film industry has gone through a lot of struggles in the last few years, you know, COVID being one of them. We've had a couple strikes, you know, it's been a tough time, and I think indie film specifically, it's really hard to get people to believe in independent stories. And I think the benefit to it taking that long is I've been able to work as a writer, which I'm, you know, very grateful for, and develop my craft. And also I think struggle makes you more creative and makes you have to think outside the box. So I don't think this film would exist if it hadn't taken me that long. But I hope it doesn't take 9 for the next one. I hope the next one doesn't take so long.
I met Sophie during the pandemic, and we went to the park, and we just hung out and talked for a long time. And I guess what really drew me was Sophie, and I really liked her vibe. And then I enjoyed the script, and it was a really fun part. And there's really nothing crazy to that story, but I'm happy to answer any questions from our online viewers.
Well, Molly and I have been friends for years. So when Molly was like, do you want to come play my devoted friend in a film? I said, of course. The role I was born to play. So yeah, it was a no-brainer. And then the script was just like so kind of ballsy and brilliant and something that I wanted to watch. And yeah, so we just had the best like couple weeks in upstate New York. It just felt like we were friends hanging out.
I mean, this was a fantastic script, and that is usually the guiding factor for me. But on top of that, it was just a movie I really wanted to see, and I thought it had something to say and add to the genre of, I guess, rom-coms, which what this fits into. It makes a bold choice and goes in a direction that I wasn't expecting when reading it, and I really loved that about it. And I hope people like it too. I mean, I really enjoyed the read, so that's what attracted me originally.
When Logan signed on, it was so clear I immediately had like a partner in this in such a real way. And he was so devoted to making it feel as comfortable as possible, as real as possible, as funny as possible. And yeah, we just like listened and just committed. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I've lucked out in my small career to have worked with some lovely people, but I count Logan as like one of my favorite people that I've ever gotten to work with. He's just so talented. And I think this movie, you really get to see a really different side of him.
Thank you so much, and likewise. Being comfortable is really important when making this kind of movie without giving anything away. You know, feeling comfortable with your scene partner and feeling, safe to explore is really important. But I think we were both just really committed to wanting to find the good moments every day. I think we spent every minute together throughout production, and every day we'd go back, and it would always be the same conversation of like, let's run tomorrow's work, let's run the next day's work, and let's hope that we can find something really great on the day.
Kind of curious what career you envision for yourself. What kind of artist do you want to be in the long term?
Nora Ephron. I think she's so inspiring because she told stories that were very personal to her, but also had really wide appeal. And I really relate to that. I think I do my best work if I'm telling personal stories, but I also really care about the audience, and I really care about it being entertaining. And I think if I could have a career where I get to tell stories that are meaningful to me and also a lot of people connect to, that would be my ideal situation. Well, Molly's also a producer on the film, and she's a really good producer. And I think, I hadn't directed in 9 years, as I said, and it's scary. It's scary to do something when you haven't done it in a really long time. And even with my first feature, I was 26. I had gotten out of film school like 3 years earlier. I'd made another short since then. So I was much more used to being in that role. And I think, I definitely had some imposter syndrome and was like scared that I was going to get on there and be like, ah. And I think Molly had such confidence in me, and that made me feel brave. And I think when you hire really good people as your collaborators, I have my dream cast, truly. It makes you feel safer. It makes you feel like, okay, I know that I made that decision right. And that gave me some confidence. I also thought we had an incredible crew. Our producers are great. And, all of those pieces, film is so collaborative, right? So all of those pieces are essential to make the product. But Molly's just like a really inspiring person, and she's very brave herself. And I think when she looks at you, there was a moment where, this is very specific, but there's a scene that was supposed to be outside, and then because of some scheduling things, we were maybe going to move it inside. And she was like, no, you want it outside. We should shoot it outside. And she was right. And we shot it outside. And like those little moments where you have, in that role, she's being my producer, right? To just push me to protect what I want to make was very meaningful.
So excited to be working with Searchlight again, and I'm excited about this year and getting to work with, theater camp was so hard to get made. This was so hard to get made. So as Sophie was saying, you never intend for things to take as long as they do. So the fact that I get to get up to bat a little sooner and actually make another movie this year is so exciting. As Soph said, I think we just want to make like funny human things that for an audience. And I think that theatrical is still like very exciting to me, and I don't want it to die. And I feel like it's having a resurgence. So I hope we can live in that.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.